Privyet. So it appears that Vladimir Putin is having a 7/8 life crisis right now. Something weird has been going on. He has really tried to basically rise tensions with the Ukraine situation. Obviously, this is kind of like a West versus Russia situation. Ukraine wants to be with the West, but Russia wants to, invade it or at least keep it in a situation where it's as separated from the West as possible. But he really, all of a sudden, in the past couple weeks, has really seemed to have gone crazy with all of this stuff, and it's very weird. It's almost like he's kind of like like one of those like white girl stalkers, where he's just like, it's to the point where he's saying like, we need guarantees now, and it's almost like he's begging for the U.S.'s attention. It's very bizarre. It says Putin says Russia doesn't want conflict but needs immediate guarantees. Russia wants to avoid conflict with Ukraine in the West, President Vladimir Putin said on Thursday, but needs an immediate response from the United States and its allies to its demands for security guarantees. Ukraine is at the center of soaring east-west tensions after the U.S. and Kyiv accused Russia of weighing a new attack on its southern neighbor, an allegation Moscow denies. Putin was plied with questions about the risk of conflict with Ukraine during his marathon annual news conference, which lasted over 4 hours. This is not our preferred choice. We do not want this, he told reporters. Tensions over Ukraine have pushed Moscow's relations with the West to their lowest point since the collapse of the Soviet Union some 30 years ago. The U.S., the EU, and the Group of Seven have all warned Putin he will face massive consequences, including tough economic sanctions in the event of any new Russian aggression. Putin said Russia received a generally positive initial response to security proposals handed to the United States this month, designed to defuse the crisis, and that he was hopeful about the prospect for negotiations, which he said would start early next year in Geneva. But in a separate reply, Putin grew more heated when recalling how NATO had brazenly tricked Russia with successive waves of expansion since the Cold War, and said Moscow needed an answer urgently. You must give us guarantees immediately. Now. Biden administration official on a call with reporters said Washington has taken note of concerns that Moscow has raised and was ready to engage with Russia as soon as early January, but a specific date and location were yet to be set. So it's just weird. I mean, the way he's been going about this is like he's having like a life crisis. Obviously it's not a midlife crisis. He's too old to have a midlife crisis, so maybe it's like a 7/8 life crisis. But, if you're wondering why on earth is he doing this, why is he riling up tension so much with Ukraine, it's because he's trying to distract from the fact that Russia is getting just completely pulverized by coronavirus. And this is just politicking 101. If you're a politician, all you got to do in any time of domestic problems, create some kind of foreign issue or bomb somewhere or do something like that. That'll usually get you, I think even Bill Clinton tried that during the impeachment trials. But, obviously it worked really well for George Bush in terms of that, foreign invasions and stuff, boosting up his support, which otherwise he wouldn't have had. So he's trying to distract from that. That's why he's trying so hard. There's so many people dying in Russia. Russia's population is really declining, and there's a lot of poverty in Russia, and it is not looking good. So this is the reason why he's doing this, if you're wondering. They had to go through a partial lockdown. The deaths are still, pretty high in numbers for Russia. So they're really hurting right now. So for him, this is his way of distracting his people from the real issue. But, hopefully tensions will stay low. But he's definitely very thirsty right now. Very, very thirsty.